will the 49ers Super Bowl window close in 2024? I know you're thinking, crazy question. Sure, I'm not saying it will, but here's why I asked. I'm looking at overthecap.com, and these are going to be the Niners cap numbers for their top 8 players. And I guess there could be some extensions and some restructures, but as of now, Deebo Samuel's going to be making $28.5 million against the cap. Trent Williams, 28. Bosa's probably going to be at 25, 26, just based on where TJ Watt's at in his 6th year of his contract. Eric Armstead, 25.8. Fred Warner, 22.1. George Kittle, 19.8. Travarius Ward, 15.4. And Christian McCaffrey, $12 million. That's 8 players taking up $177 million. And next year, the cap's going to be $224. So I'm thinking 24, it'll be roughly $240. A little bit more than, but between $240 and $245. So, damn, that's like 3/4 of the cap tied up into 8 players. Eventually, you're going to have no depth left. Are you concerned?
Well, it's always a concern. I mean, for every team, it's a concern. I am concerned. But, the one thing the 49ers did this year is they added a lot of young players to the organization. And a lot of those guys, even though the fans don't know it yet, the Niners know they can play. They give you an example is they're going to let Azeez Al-Shaair walk, and they're going to replace him with Marcelino McCrary-Ball,
who they just signed today.
Yeah, who they signed today. And McCrary-Ball is a baller. He is absolutely a player.
You called that, by the way. And they didn't give him an extension. Everyone was like, well, I guess, was Larry wrong? Boom, here's extension. Nope. Here it is.
Yeah, here it is. And it's separate from those guys, so what it really means is he got more.
Correct.
He probably got more than those guys.
As you pointed out.
But I mean, so he's nice, and he can run and hit, and he played corner at times in college, and obviously he played collegiate safety, and now he's had a year to adjust to their system. So they've got a few guys on their roster kind of like that, who are players, and so they're kind of fortified against this year's free agents if some of these guys decide to walk, Azeez being one, even though I love Azeez, but Azeez himself was an undrafted free agent who's going to secure the bag in Houston, I would think. So yeah, I think here's the question. What's the window? Who's the window tied to? Most teams it's tied to your quarterback. Right. Well, if Brock Purdy is a flash in the pan, then the 49ers window might not even be open right now, to be honest, because they have no quarterback that's proven that they can win games with. If Brock Purdy
Bosa's going to be making quarterback money. Bosa's going to be making quarterback money. Eventually, he's going to get so expensive, it's going to get tricky to put together the roster they have now. I'm not saying don't pay Bosa, although I'm not saying pay him, because we just talked a minute ago about spending a lot of money on pass rushers. And look, the thing about Bosa is great player. But when he goes against the Chiefs, they can neutralize him. Something to think about.
Well,
Chiefs are going nowhere.
One of the things, Grant, that happened in this game to the Eagles is the Eagles shortened their D-line rotation and made their starters play a higher percentage of the snaps. And if you go back and look at the snaps, I think the Niners did kind of the similar thing later in the year. And I think that eventually that's kind of like, robbing Peter to pay Paul. There's a price to be paid for that. And what happens is your top guys, as you're featuring them more and more and playing them higher percentage of snaps, start giving you less production. And I think that's what we saw across the board from the Niner D line.
Yeah. I don't know what the Niners do here. I just feel like at a certain point they need to stop giving extensions to every single one of their players who's available. And you know what? I keep saying they got to re-sign Brandon Ayuk. I love Brandon Ayuk, but man, you can't give extensions to everyone. And I'm looking at the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the example of what to do in the league right now. They're cutthroat. They would not extend Brandon Ayuk. They probably wouldn't have extended Eric Armstead, Fred Warner. They would extend George Kittle. I want to say one thing about George Kittle. I said the Niners should trade him last year because I thought his body was breaking down. He stayed healthy for most of the year. This year had a great year. The Niners used him as a receiver. If you have a number one receiver who's a tight end, I feel like that's the number. It's a cheat code because they get paid less than wide receivers, and it's not fair. You know what I mean? Look at how dominant Gronkowski and Kelsey were in the salary cap era. It's not fair if you can have a tight end be your number one wide receiver like that. So Kittle, he can stick around. He's off the trade block officially. Sorry, George.
You're not trading him?
If he can stay healthy and Brock Purdy wants to throw it to him, then he's definitely worth the money. He's worth every penny. He is. Debo, on the other hand, $28 million for Debo in 2 years? That's terrifying. What is That's terrifying. They got to figure that one out. Is he worth it? 28?
I just think you wait. You wait
Okay.
on that and see where it goes.
Sure.
See where his condition goes.
Because in
see where the
2023, he's
roster
only
goes.
$8 million. He's okay.
The Purdy thing is interesting from the standpoint of he loves to throw the tight end so much that if he's your guy, that's a spot you need another dynamic player. How great would the Niners be with Pitts if they could add somebody like that, the Atlanta kid, or a big time player? I love Michael Mayer if the kid out of Notre Dame in this draft. I mean, if they had a big time second tight end who had some speed, was dynamic, that would really help. I would love to see Purdy. I'd love to see Purdy throwing to that type of a player in this offense.
I mean, you could argue that a tight end who can be used as a receiver is the most valuable non-quarterback, non-offensive line asset in football on offense, because wide receivers and running backs are important, but you can find them. There's a million good running backs and there's a million good wide receivers, and they can be good at 22, 23. I feel like tight ends, how many guys can really get open and catch passes consistently? If you had two of them, remember when the Niners had Delaney Walker and Vernon Davis? Ooh, that was nice. Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and two tight end sets.
Two tight ends.
I mean, there were, he obviously became a nut job or was a nut job, but
I know where you're going with this. I was going to say it, and I was going to you know what? Let's not mention it.
Gronk and Aaron Hernandez.
I knew. Yeah, that was the other one. Yes. If you had two, having one, Kansas City has one, and that's enough. But if you have two, I'm with you, because George Kittle has to block too much. He's a good blocker, but all the financial value is him catching passes, catching touchdowns. He can do it. Free him up, and get another one too, because George's going to be 30.
By the way, Noah Gray, number 83, for those of you who watch the game so closely week to week, was blocking Hassan Reddick multiple times in this game.
I do feel he had a running back helping him, but also I want to say that Tyler Kroft, they should not re-sign Tyler Kroft. He went from inactive to blocking Hassan Reddick. He should have just stayed inactive. That's what I think. Ross Dwelley, the most disrespected 49ers ever? I don't know. We'll have to talk about that tomorrow. Dodge the bullet not getting Fangio as DC. Yeah, Fangio, thanks so much for your help. What was that? That was hilarious. He probably shouldn't have let that get out there.
What did he get for that?
He must have got, I don't know, a gold watch.
I bet you.
Set of steak knives.
What do you get to be a consultant for a few weeks on that level?
Oh, he should have been like, I'm just kidding. I didn't. That was all Jonathan Gannon.
50K maybe.
Everything I told him to. Yeah. What would it be for a week? 100K.
Your Vic.
2 weeks?
What does a week of Vic Fangio cost you these days? I'm saying at least 50K.